Hi, Professor Wenaina here, your 5 minutes teacher on education, childhood, youth, parenting, and all things school. Welcome. In the first lesson on this series of Sharenting, that is sharing images of your children online, I talked about privacy. In the second part, I talked about safety. See those two other lessons. In this third lesson, I want us to talk about how matters of identity and trust emerge in your engagement with sharenting. Every photo, every caption, and every post you share about your child online contributes to a narrative of their life. As a parent, you are their first storyteller, shaping the way others see and perceive them. But what happens when this storytelling becomes a denial of their right to tell their own story? Sharenting raises these significant concerns about identity and trust. These issues strike at the heart of your relationship with your child and their future sense of self. When you share your child's images or personal moments, you craft a digital identity before they even comprehend what it means to have one. By the time they are old enough to understand, their identity has been publicly shaped by choices they had no say in. A photo or a post of your child in vulnerable or carefree moments might seem harmless, but it becomes part of an online record and a representation of themselves that they cannot escape. These decisions, made without their input, deny them the agency to tell their own story. The concept of self-representation is fundamental to identity development, and research in developmental psychology emphasizes that children need the opportunity to explore, define, and present their own narratives as they grow. When parents preemptively control this narrative through sharenting, they deprive their child of this essential developmental process. In a digital age where identity is closely tied to one's online presence, the implications of this preemption becomes even more profound. Your child deserves the right to decide which expressions of their identity they want to share and with whom. By sharing for them, you strip away that autonomy, sending a message that their voice is secondary to yours. This will have a long-term implication for their confidence and sense of control over their own story. Such feelings will erode the trust that is foundational to a healthy parent-child relationship. Trust is a delicate bond, but built over years and maintained through respect and understanding. When a child feels that their identity has been violated, especially by the person they look to for protection, it creates a break in that bond. Imagine your child discovering a certain portrayal of themselves in a deeply personal story shared with hundreds of people online. The sense of betrayal they experience would be profound, leading them to question whether you respect not just their boundaries, but most importantly, their identity. To honor your child's right to tell their own story, consider a very careful approach to sharing their life online. Before you post, check the extent the post violates your child's right to tell their own story by asking the following questions. Will this post restrict my child's ability to define themselves later? Does this post reflect my child's perspective or mine? Am I respecting my child's future agency in controlling their story? When they grow older, will my child feel that they have been empowered to control their own narrative, or will they feel like their identity has already been defined by the images and stories I have posted about them? Ask yourself, what happens if my child wants to erase or alter the story I have told about them? Have I considered how my child will feel about having their story told for them? Am I taking away my child's opportunity to define their own digital identity? Could this post shape or limit how others perceive my child in ways they can't control? Your child's life is a story, but it is their story to tell. By preempting their narrative, you risk becoming the writer of a tale they may not wish to claim. Let them shape their own identity and trust that their voice will be far more compelling than any post you could ever share about them. After all, your role as a parent is not to script their life, but to give them the pen. Join me in the next lesson where I summarize for you the sharenting issues explored in the 3 lessons that we have covered so far. Keep it here.